Hi folks, Stan Baker with Hunt the Racket. Hey, wanted to do this segment today, develop some bad habit shooting. So we thought we'd get together and kind of illustrate to you some of the problems that I was having, and hopefully we'll put that on camera. You'll be able to see it, how we corrected it. Everything seems to be running pretty smooth here lately since I've corrected. I had a good friend, Mel Hensley. You guys remember him from the Wyoming State Shoot. We interviewed him in that segment, and I asked him, we were shooting together after I came back from the Spring Grand, and I was having a problem with singles. Just didn't feel like I was really getting on them. I was missing them, and it was pretty difficult. And it was one of those situations where I really didn't feel like I knew what I was doing wrong. So I asked Mel, I happened to be shooting with him, I said, Mel, watch me shoot this round and tell me what you think. So I got done with the round, and Mel pulled me aside and he says, I see three things that you're doing wrong. Number one, he says, you seem to be gripping the forearm really hard, which was the case, and I'll tell you why here. We'll backtrack a little bit and go back into the Spring Grand, and I'll tell you what happened. But one of the issues was I was gripping that forearm really hard, and really you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just hold it, so you're just guiding the gun. You're not really supposed to grip it. But you can have a pretty heavy hand on the backside on the stock, but that's a no-no for the forearm. He says that's number one. Number two, he noticed I was shooting straight up and not putting that weight forward a little more on my left, on my left foot up front near the toe, kind of lean into the gun a little bit. And so that made sense because a lot of birds I was jumping, so I was probably, the way I was gripping that forearm and not leaning into the gun, I was probably arm shooting. And when you arm shoot, when you're just whipping that gun around, you're gonna blow right by them and do some bad things. The most important thing that he found that I was doing wrong was he noticed that when I was shooting the birds, I would drop my barrel to see if I was hitting the bird. And I thought about that, and it really makes a lot of sense. So there's more than one way to lift your head. You can either lift your head up to see if you hit the bird, or you can drop the gun and lift your head. So that's what he observed I was doing. So three things: I was gripping the forearm, standing straight up, not really putting that weight forward, and lowering the barrel to see if I hit the bird. So with that, I went to work on the next round. I think I dropped 2 birds on that round that he happened to catch it. I was lucky enough to hit some of the birds that I was dropping the barrel on. So, but that explains why I never felt, all of a sudden I wasn't feeling comfortable with shooting singles, and it didn't make a lot of sense. So what I did is I just kind of cupped I put my index finger on my left hand, I put that over on the left side of my forearm, and just so that I cup it and just hold the barrel, and put my weight forward and focused on follow through. And what I decided to do was shoot the bird and pick a chip and follow the chip to the ground and stay in that frame of mind. So I shot the next 25 and went straight. So the problem was solved for the time being. Mel asked me to go out and shoot Ben Lomond with him, Ben Lomond being a trap field out in Kiowa, Colorado, past Kiowa. And we went out there and I shot, I believe it was 125 straight, and as we speak today, my practice rounds, I've shot 450 straight in singles. So I think the problem's solved. Just got back on the bicycle. But one of the things that, if you're doing one thing wrong, the chances are that leading to something else is pretty high. So if you're lifting your head, you're probably doing something else. I mean, it's a symptom. It's not the cause. So I'm pretty sure that everything kind of worked together in me arm shooting, me not seeing the bird and not feeling comfortable, getting in a hurry, blowing by the bird, shooting, and then seeing if I hit it, getting anxious. That all kind of ties together. So if you feel uncomfortable, a lot of times it's you want to get some expert advice. Mel is a heck of a shooter. He's a Hall of Famer here in Colorado. He's got many Grand Slams, and he's just a good friend of mine, and he was very, very helpful to me. In fact, I got to tell you a story. I was at the Spring Grand, and I was shooting just horribly, and we'll go into why. But I got so disgusted with myself, I threw the gun in the car, and my friend said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to go to a movie." So I decided I just picked a movie down the highway there, saw a movie, and then pulled in there. And I would recommend going to see this movie. It's called Lift Up, I believe it is. Kevin Hart is in it, and probably one of the best movies I've ever seen. So that's one of the good things that happened out of the Spring Grand. I saw a great movie. But after I got out of the movie, got in the car, and I see Mel called me. And I called Mel, and Mel said, "Hey, Stan, I think I want to know what kind of pain you're in, because I'm really in a lot of pain looking at your scores." So we both had a big laugh together. I said, "Well, Mel, I'm in big pain, so when I get back, we'll have some work to do, But while I was at the Spring Grand, things didn't go good for me. I got there, and I shoot a release trigger. And I noticed in a couple of my practice rounds, I would set the trigger, and it seemed to go off prematurely. It was one of those things that started out when I was shooting. I'd be going to the bird, and all of a sudden the gun would go off, and I thought, well, I was just getting a little antsy with my trigger finger. And it turned out to be not the case. What happened is then I started shooting the trap house. And so I got to tell you, I single-handedly hold the ATA record for number of trap houses shot at the Spring Grand. I shot 8 of them with this release trigger. And I think that's pretty comical. But one of the things I did learn is how safe they were. I know that sounds kind of weird, but if you keep that muzzle out there, always keep that muzzle out there. When you set that trigger and you start bringing it up and it goes off, you're going to probably hit the house or go right over it. So I found out that release triggers are pretty safe. They're safer than what I thought they'd be. That's number one. Number two, I had these nasty habits, and the reason that I was gripping that forearm is because that release trigger was hanging up on me and going off. So about all I could think about was setting that trigger and hanging onto that gun. So I was gripping that forearm really hard, and that started my woes. Eventually, during the shoot, what I did is I took it into the dealer, and he fixed it for me. He told me that that hook was just barely holding, and any movement, I'd bring it up and it'd go off. So I'm glad we got it fixed, and I figured, okay, now I can go back to shooting well. Wrong. The damage was done, and what happened was I'd go to the line, and my brain would tell me, when it was my turn to shoot, it would say, "Do not touch that trigger." So for the rest of the meet, all I could think, I had to set the trigger down at my side. I normally set it when I mount the gun. And I was thinking about setting the trigger, and I was having a really hard time setting the trigger. So that's all I was thinking about, is getting that trigger back, and it was really, my brain was scrambled. Now, since I've been back, and I don't know if some of you guys and gals shoot a release trigger, but I'd love to hear from you about your woes. I was very depressed. I thought maybe my shooting days might be over because I could not set that trigger. And when I did, it was, bringing that gun up was just almost very painful. So I didn't shoot as well as what I normally do. And when I got back, the good news is I shot for about 2 weeks and my brain got unscrambled, and I'm back to shooting. I told you I was 450 straight in practice and singles. So I'm excited now. And it's a funny thing that happens with those release triggers. Your brain kind of gets going one way, and it takes a while to get, start getting confidence with that trigger and do that whole bit. While we were there, the other thing that happened is our equipment, we had the mic issues. So a lot of the interviews that I got were not of the best quality that we normally give you. So I made the decision, we weren't gonna, because of the mic issues, we weren't gonna show most of that segment of the Spring Grand. But what I felt like we had 3 interviews that I think are really important. The 3 individuals are, number 1, Stu Welton, who is being inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Guy's incredible. I thought what he had to say was very important, so we had to, we need to share that with you. The other interview was Sherrod Oaks. He's a future Hall of Famer. This kid can shoot lights out, and I really like what he said about doubles, so we're going to include that in there. And then another up-and-coming, even younger than Sherrod, is Hunter Howe, who is, this kid is shooting lights out. I think I may have introduced him as Hunter Powell, so excuse me for that, it's Hunter Howe. He's out of Wyoming, shooting lights out, winning everything, and just doing a tremendous job. So we're going to include those in this segment today. Hey folks, Stan Baker with Hunt the Racket. Hey, we have a real treat here. I found Stu Welton. Stu, let me tell you something. Congratulations on making the Hall of Fame, my friend.
Thank you, Stan.
You are, this guy is amazing to watch him shoot. And he shoots with a lot of confidence, and he's having fun. You can tell by his body language out there, he's just having a lot of fun. So Stu, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. What kind of gun do you shoot?
I shoot the Grande K80.
Grande?
Yep.
And what kind of shells do you shoot for singles and handicap?
Oh, I've been shooting 1 ounce.
1 ounce?
For the singles and doubles.
Yeah.
I think I like the speed. 1,200 feet or so, less recoil, more speed, less recoil. That's what everybody's after.
Nice.
Handicap, I prefer to shoot a 3 dram.
1,200.
Like this, yeah, a little wind, a little extra speed.
Right.
As far as I do like the shot count in the ounce day in handicap, but on most our rainy days or cold days, I like to shoot a 3 dram.
So you like the 1200s in the handicap?
Okay. I think that extra recoil and that extra speed doesn't get you any more accuracy.
I see. And do you shoot federal primarily?
I have shot a lot of federals and shoot a lot of Remington.
Okay.
So right now I'm kind of just in the buy mode of whatever I can get a hold of.
Right. Let me ask you, how long have you been shooting, Stu?
I started working at the track clubs with my dad when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah.
I started shooting a little practice and etc. at 12. I won some trophies at 12. I was shooting 27 yards when I was 14, and I'm 56. be 57 this year, so a long time. You know, I don't get to shoot as much as some of the other folks,
Right.
you know, but I shoot enough that I can keep it fun.
Right.
I can keep it real, and I still try hard every time. It doesn't get to the boring part. But yeah, I like, you know, I always wonder what would it like if I could have shot more.
Yeah, if you could.
And now, you know, at the age of 56, and you know, you hear all your life, oh, the older you get, the harder it is to see, it's harder to do this and harder, and absolutely right. The more recoil, the targets are hard to see. You know, today in the wind, the cloud cover, they're just, to me, they were all over the place. You could never catch the speed. It seemed like everything was changing. So, you know, I'm very happy. I want to say I've had a successful career.
Right.
I'm fortunate that my dad took me shooting, and my wife was patient enough to let me shoot for 40 years. You know, we've been married for 30 years, and I've shot before I met her, during our dating and marriage, and you know, raising a family has been great. You know, as far as
I gotta tell you, the first time I saw Stu, he came into the Vernal Trap and Skeet Club at about Mach 10. He jumps out of the truck and he says, "Man, I'm late," and they were calling him to go shoot. And he just got there a little late. He grabbed his shells and ran over and ran 200 straight in the singles. It was amazing. I watched this guy in amazement. And he's one of the good guys because he's really able to balance his life with the trap and still being all-American. I mean, the guy's incredible. He owns a electrician.
electrical contractor, yeah.
And he owns his own company, so he's able to balance that. And he only shoots a certain time of the year, correct?
I shoot whenever I can. That's what I'm saying. You don't get out to travel much.
Right.
You know, working. You say that trip to Vernon is a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
You know? So,
But I mean, like I said, this guy is amazing. I am so happy for you. One of the good guys, and truly a Hall of Famer. With that, we'll see you at Hunt the Racket. Stan Baker with Hunt the Racket. We have a real treat here today. Look who's here. Sherrod Oaks, my man. Nice to see you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to share some ideas with our viewers out here. We're all trap junkies, so we're all looking for the answers, my friend. Sherrod here, as you guys all know, is one of the top shooters in the country. And I mean, this kid can shoot lights out. I've never seen anything like it. His form and fundamentals are very sound. And if you know, I encourage, if you're at one of these meets, make sure you pick out a squad that he's in and just watch him shoot doubles. You got the doubles today.
Yep.
100 straight and doubles today. This kid is really good. So let me ask you, how long have you been shooting, Sherrod?
ATA since 2009. Altogether shooting trap probably 2007. That's when I shot my first target.
Right.
Trap.
And now you're no longer in category. You chose not to be in the junior gold division. You're open. And why is that?
I did shoot it last year. I have nothing against the category. I'm going to school now. I work full time. And I just feel like, you know, I'm in the real world now.
Yeah.
So I chose not to shoot the category this year. So
I got to tell you, his father is just an incredible guy, and you know, the whole family, they all shoot really well. And this kid's going somewhere. He was raised right. He's got good parents, good pedigree, and we're looking for big things out of you in the future. What's your future goal, my friend?
my future goal is to win a grand title. That's always been my favorite deal. I've been right there. That is my future goal. I'd love to win that at least one.
How close have you got?
I got runner-up in the Grand American Bill.
Oh man, that's still great. I mean, hey, number 2.
I was fortunate enough. I was just happy enough to break the 100 to get in it. That was my very first shoot-off for the grand title. Let alone get that far. I was with one of my favorite idols, Sean Hawley, at Lamont, very good. One of my friends now, for sure. Really good guy. But to be with Sean Holland meant a lot for me. He's the one that taught me.
I mean, shooting with the dog.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now you're one of the dogs. So, hey, we really appreciate it again, you taking the time to share. Let me ask you just one question before we leave. How do you approach doubles? When you go to line, what do you...
I just have to tell myself, doubles, it's all about timing. And no matter how the targets are, just go with it. Don't think the targets are going to be in the same spot. Just relax. When you're done, we'll do it yourself. Especially if you shot a lot. I just try to be as smooth as I can because doubles isn't hard. It's just about timing, just keeping the groove.
And being loose.
Yes, you gotta be. You cannot be tight. You're shooting two of these, not just one.
Right. And that was my mistake this morning. I was shooting tight. I don't know why I didn't warm up or something, and so I dropped a few birds on my second round. So I'm going to take that advice, my friend. Okay. Well, thanks again for your time, my friend.
No problem.
And we hope you warm up for the rest of the meet.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Stay tuned now. We got a lot more interviews with a lot of people. We're excited. We're here at the 2019 Spring Grand, and we'll see you at Hunt the Racket. Hey folks, Stan Baker with Hunt the Racket. We have a real treat here today. I'd like to introduce you to Hunter Powell, my friend. This kid is lighting them up in the trap world, and he has done an exceptional job in the last year. Hunter, could you tell me what you won at the Grand American last year?
I won the sub-junior, HOA, and HAA, the Grande, and the 2600 target league.
You won the overall.
High overall, high all around.
Did I see you win the singles? Singles with Stacy Rehorn?
At the autumn.
That's the Autumn Grand,
Yep.
okay. Well, it doesn't matter where he's at, on the Grand, Wyoming State shoot, this kid can just light them up. And you appear to me to be fearless when you're shooting. What's in your mind when you're shooting?
I try to keep my mind clear.
Still?
Yeah. Try not to think about anything really.
And how do you approach when you're shooting doubles? How do you approach that? Do you get the first bird quick, or what's your...
I just try to get a slow, smooth rhythm. Take one target at a time.
Just one at a time. You appear to me before you hit that first bird, you're actually going over to the second bird.
Yeah, moving a little bit.
Yeah. But well, I'll tell you what. We've got some footage of him shooting doubles, and his form and fundamentals are very sound. So, Hunter, how long have you been shooting?
I've been shooting with gig for like 6 years now, I think.
6 years. How did you get involved in shooting?
Growing up, just shooting with dad. We got into 4-H and then PTA.
Any coaches that you like?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
You're a good coach. Yeah. You know, that's one thing about these junior shooters out here is, for the most part, they have, their parents are just exceptional. They're really good people, and these kids are they're being raised right, and these kids are going somewhere. So I expect a lot of big things out of you, my friend. And I want you to blow them up today, okay?
All right.
I'd like to apologize for the background noise before we get going, but we had mic issues, but I thought those interviews were so important I wanted to put them into this segment. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out on the trap field. Hopefully I can illustrate to you what I was doing. I went, that reminds me, went back into some of my old segments, my old videos. And if you guys go back, you'll be able to pick some of these up. Back on I believe it was the 27-yard line where we had the voiceover. Go to post 5, sharp right, and you will see the beginning of me lowering that barrel. There were a few interviews or a few segments of me shooting with the Shotkam, the camera on the gun, where it really does illustrate when I shoot, all of a sudden you couldn't see the bird. I could see it, but the camera was down here and the bird was up there. So there's a couple times, see if you can't pick them out. And I'd love to hear from you guys and gals if you've ever had that problem and some of the exercises that you use, to get rid of them. What I did was just follow through, keep my head into the bird and pick a chip and follow it, so the typical follow through. And that helped me quite a bit. Another thing I want to bring up before we get out on the field is while I was watching the shoot-offs at the Spring Grand, I had a lot of people come up to me and really thank me for these videos. And I can't tell you guys and gals how much I appreciate that. We all like to think maybe we're doing, we'd like to think we're making a difference in someone shooting. And I had a couple people, one lady came up to me and I felt so good about her letting me know how much she appreciated the videos and that her shooting and was doing better, that I gave her a big hug. I tell you, it really makes a big difference. Love to hear from you guys and gals. If it does make a difference to you, we answer a lot of replies on the videos, and it makes me feel good that maybe I'm helping someone out there shoot better. Now remember, I'm like you are. I'm on a journey. I'm trying to learn. I shoot good, I shoot bad. I use the right people. I try to do the right things, but I want to share all those things with you to help you shoot better. I just want you to know how much I appreciate anyone showing their appreciation to me. The other thing we're really excited about is March 31st. Mark it on your calendar. March 31st, we are having our first ATA trap meet at Racket. And if you live within 250-mile radius of Llewellyn, Nebraska, please, we'd love to see you up there. It's a Sunday. I believe the weather's going to be really good. I've been keeping an eye on the 15-day forecast. Weather up there looks like it's probably going to be in the 50s. And I think you'll really enjoy the day. Come on up with us. I've got a little extra treat. I put a little extra money in for all you competitive shooters. We've got a $750 winner-take-all purse for the HOA. We'll be shooting 100 singles, 100 handicap, and 100 doubles. So there's some added money in there, and hopefully we can all have a good time. Yours truly will be shooting, but no, it's my home club, so I'm not going to participate in that $750, but someone else is going to win that. I will participate in some of the options, however. So you'll be able to shoot with me, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be our first shoot, and I can't tell you how excited we are. Love to see you up there. With that, let's get out on the field and see if we can't illustrate what I was doing wrong. We'll try and put it on the camera system for you and on the Shotkam. We'll see if we can't help you out. Love to hear from you if you have the same issues or if it had the same issues, what you did to solve the problems, and so that we can share it with other people. Before we go out on the field, I want to warn you that we just got over a big snowstorm blizzard, and we got some snow in the trap houses, so you may notice that the birds aren't flying as good as they normally should. But let's get out and see what we can do. Folks, here we are. We're out on the trap field. Like I said, we're gonna shoot a round of 16, but I'm gonna try to illustrate to you what I was doing wrong. First of all, you can see the way I was gripping the gun. You see my thumb on this side here? And I was just really gripping that forearm because I was having a hard time with my release trigger, right? So I'd set that trigger down here, And I'm hanging on thinking, oh, I gotta hang on to that trigger, bring the gun up, and I'm standing straight up, right? So I bring the gun up, the bird comes out, man, I'm swinging with my arms, and which is not the right thing to do. So what we did is I took this index finger here. By the way, the gun is empty. Took this index finger here, put it on the left side of the forearm. That way, I'm just cupping the forearm here. I put my weight on my front foot, lean into the gun, set the trigger, call for the bird, and I'm using my weight, my body to swivel. My forearm I'm using this hand just to balance the barrel. So I'm swiveling to the bird, going to the bird. What we're gonna do now is go ahead and shoot around a 16. I'll illustrate to you. I'll try to follow through, pick a chip, follow it to the ground. And we'll follow through, use our weight, cup the forearm, swivel, and follow through. Okay, on shot one, you'll see that this is a really bad move to the bird. I'm on the right side. Watch the gun, how it lowered. Now, I shot and lowered that gun to see if I hit the bird, and you'll notice that bad move. I was on the right side of that bird. When I shot, I wanted to see if I hit it. Now, the next shot, you'll see that bird was a little bit illegal, but you'll notice I did the same thing. Dropped the gun, and I actually hit the bird. Again, I was just lucky. Okay, on this next shot, you'll see where I dropped the barrel, lifting my head to see if I hit the bird. Not good. That was a really bad move to the bird, and that's what I've been doing. You'll see I was on the bird, and it looked like, man, I was gonna smoke it, and guess what? I released that trigger and brought that barrel down. That's not a good move. Okay, on this shot, good move to the bird, follow through, watch the follow through, pick a chip out to the ground, and that's what you wanna do every time. Good move. On this shot, you'll notice good move to the bird, nice move, saw the bird, move to it, shot, follow through. Good move. That's what you're trying to do. On this shot, you'll see a good move to the bird, smoked it, and a good follow through. That's what you're trying to do every time. Want to announce our first ATA shoot March the 31st. So if you're within 250 miles of Llewellyn, Nebraska, you probably got a notice from the ATA or an email. Love to see you out there. We've got added money for the HOA, winner take all, $750. Yours truly will be shooting, but I will not be eligible for the HOA. I will be eligible for the options, by the way. So we're really looking forward to it. Love to have you out there. I think we should have some pretty good weather. So take a look at it. We'll see you at Shoot the Racket.